I realized that it is pretty much so hard. I'm not even going to say so hard. I'm going to say it's pretty much impossible to live by yourself if you are not willing to spend more than $2,000 a month. Hello you guys, hello and welcome back to my channel. So I was actually just gonna go out and enjoy the beautiful weather today, but I know for a fact that if I do that, I'm gonna be too tired when I come back to film a video, and then there will be no video for you guys this week. So I told myself you're gonna film first, then you can go out, enjoy the beautiful weather, and then just enjoy your day. So that is what I'm doing because I love you guys. So this video, I don't really have anything planned to say. It's just gonna be a really rambly video, but basically, I'm just going to talk about the whole housing, living situation in New York City. So if you guys do not know, rent prices in New York City have been skyrocketing so much. And that is mainly because everyone is moving back into the city because the pandemic is kind of pretty much over. I have been kind of apartment hunting because my lease does end September 30th, and I'm not sure yet if I want to re-sign my lease or not. If you're wondering, my rent right now is $2,350 a month. I do live by myself in a studio, and my place is not big. I would say it's 250 square feet, 300 square feet maximum. So it is not big at all, but it's in a really good location, which I do really enjoy. And there's a doorman, there's laundry, and there's an elevator. And a lot of buildings, they don't have that. They might not even have any of that. I remember last year when I was apartment hunting, there were definitely options where it was less than 2,000, like 1,700 and 1,800. So still very expensive, but definitely a lot more affordable. Also, they were having a lot of COVID deals last year when I was apartment hunting. So I did say that my rent was $2,350 a month, but I did get 3 months free. So I'm only paying 9 months of rent to live here for 12 months. So if you net that out, it ends up being around $1,760 a month, which is a lot more reasonable, which is why I decided to move in here because it's in a great location and the rent is reasonable and I just liked it. So in terms of if I want to re-sign my lease, they did offer me 3 options or 4 options, I guess. So the first option is if I re-sign my lease before August 5th, then they can offer me $2,450 per month. But I did ask them if the rent price was negotiable or not, and they said that the best they can offer me is if I sign before August 5th, they can offer me $2,425 a month. So if I want to do that, I could. The second option is if I sign before August 31st, then my rent will be $2,495 a month. And the third option is I can sign a 2-year lease. So that means my lease would end September 30th of 2024. And if I do that, my rent would be $2,495 a month. So the same price as the 1-year lease if I signed by August 31st. And then the fourth option is I don't re-sign my lease and I find another apartment. So I talked to my parents and I was just thinking and looking on Street Easy, looking at what other apartments are available and trying to decide if the price that they offer me is reasonable within the New York City apartment market. And I realized that it is pretty much so hard. I'm not even going to say so hard. I'm going to say it's pretty much impossible to live by yourself if you are not willing to spend more than $2,000 a month. Everywhere that I looked, it's going to be over $2,000. So I do believe that the price they offered me was pretty reasonable. I wouldn't say that it's expensive for the market, and I wouldn't say that it's cheap for the market either. I did tour 2 apartments. I went to one place this morning actually, and then another place last week. And those places, the price was lower. The first place I went to, they were asking for $1,909. And then the place that I went to this morning, they were asking for $2,000. So those places are cheaper, but you do have to pay a broker's fee, which is usually either 1 month's rent or 15% of your total annual rent. So if you add that amount on top of that and you calculate it out, the rent ends up being more than $2,000. So if you do see a place that is under $2,000 a month, usually there will be a broker's fee. So then it'll be over $2,000 a month, which will be the same price as any other studio apartment in New York City. And I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking, Rachel, why don't you just move to like Brooklyn or Queens? The places in Brooklyn and Queens, if it's close to Manhattan, when I say close, I mean if it's within a 30-minute subway ride to get to Manhattan, those places are also asking for $2,000 and up in rent. So I don't know if it's worth it to live somewhere close to Manhattan, but in Brooklyn and Queens, if the price of an apartment there is going to be around the same price as an apartment here in Manhattan. The building might be a little bit nicer, the place might be a little bit bigger, and there might be more amenities. But for me, I actually really value location. I am okay with having less amenities, less of a fancy place to live if the location is really good. So for that reason, I don't know if it's really worth it for me to move to Brooklyn or Queens. So yeah, the apartment hunting process is really, really stressful. I remember last year when I was apartment hunting, my living situation fell through so many times. I originally was going to live with one roommate. Then I switched roommates because the roommate that I was going to live with, she didn't want to live in the same area that I wanted to live with. So then I got another roommate, and then we decided to pull another girl in. So it was going to be the three of us that was going to be living together. But then that fell through, and so I ended up just looking to live on my own. And I'm very happy that I found a place to live by myself. It was also my first time ever renting an apartment and moving out of my parents' house. And another thing that made apartment hunting really, really difficult last year was that I was not living in the city. And so it was really hard to come and tour apartments. I could pretty much only rent an apartment that offered video tour or like the 3D thing that they have on Street Easy. They have it for some apartments on there. Or I was actually even willing to just go off the pictures and just rent a place without seeing it. And there are some places that do not let you rent the apartment if you do not go in and see it in person. So I did take a weekend trip with my family, and we came here and we looked at 2 apartments. If you want to know details about my whole moving to New York City and that whole spiel, I did make a video last year. I will link it in the description below and put a card on the screen if you want to see it. But yeah, the whole point of this video is just me rambling about whether I want to move or not. Out of the 4 options that they gave me, I am deciding to either re-sign my lease by August 5th, so then I can get the discounted rent price. But technically, I have to re-sign my lease before July 29th because I'm going to be going on a cruise with my family to the Bahamas from July 29th to August 5th. So if I want to get the discounted rent price, I do have to re-sign my lease by the end of this month. And then the other option is that I'm just not going to re-sign my lease and just get a new place. So it's been a lot. I am still deciding on what I want to do, and apartments in New York just go so fast. If you have never apartment hunted in New York, you can literally find a place, apply, and move in within, I would say, 10 days, 2 weeks. So you can't really apartment hunt too much in advance because places just go so fast, and they're not going to hold that apartment for you if you're going to move in 2-3 months later. So for me, if I do decide to move, I am going to move either middle of September or end of September. At least that's what I'm planning right now. But I have been apartment hunting now because I wanted to compare what was available on the market and see if the price that they're offering me to live here is reasonable or not. And yeah, so September is going to be a totally different market than what's available right now. So if I do decide to stay here for another year, which I'm very lucky and blessed that I do have a full-time job and I have a savings, where if I have to stay here for another year, I can afford it. But it's not a question of whether I can afford it or not. It's a question of whether I can justify spending that much money just on my rent, because I will be spending almost $30,000 to live here for another year, and that is a lot of money. And rent, yes, I know you're getting the place to live, but in a way you're quote unquote kind of just throwing your money away, because when you go to move out, you're not getting any of that money back. I'm really trying not to spend so much money on rent, just like everybody else is trying not to spend that much money on rent. Oh, I forgot to mention that if I do decide to re-sign my lease, I'm not getting any months for free anymore. So that means I will be paying $2,425 per month for 12 months. I got a good COVID deal last year, but unfortunately that COVID deal is going away. And I am not the only person that got screwed from the COVID deals that were going on last year and in 2020. I know a lot of people who moved here in 2020, 2021 who got really nice apartments and they got COVID deals, and now this year the landlord is raising their rent so much, and so they all ended up having to get new places. I do wish that my rent wasn't that high if I decided to stay here. So yeah, that is just a ramble of my whole living situation here in New York City. Like I said, I don't know if I want to re-sign my lease or not, or if I want to move and find a new place, but I do have to pretty much figure that out by the end of this month. So wish me luck. I hope that everything turns out for the best. It's really not that big of a deal. If I have to re-sign my lease, I'll just re-sign, but I just really wish I wasn't paying $2,425 a month for a place that is 300 square feet maximum. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, and if you are not subscribed, definitely subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you'll never miss a video if you're notified. If you enjoy hanging out with me and just these chit-chatty, rambly videos, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I wish you many blessings, and I'm gonna go out and explore the city now because it is a beautiful day. All right, you guys, goodbye.